Waymo drops Nvidia to deploy its own custom 5-nanometer Robotaxi silicon. Anthropic's Claude autonomously designs working proteins at double the industry's success rate. And Pew Research confirms that more than 1/3 of the modern internet is now synthetically generated. Welcome to today's Daily Rundown. I am your host, Anna. This podcast is researched and produced by Etienne Newman, professional engineer and founder at Zeekr-manufactured from Calgary, Alberta in Canada. Today, we perform a forensic autopsy on silicon sovereignty, the synthetic web, and the collapse of manual execution this Friday, August 21st, 2026. The baseline economics of computation and human labor are being violently rewritten. On the hardware front, Alphabet's Waymo has officially severed its dependency on Nvidia. The autonomous driving giant has deployed its own custom TSMC manufactured 5-nanometer chip, delivering over 1,000 tera operations per second to power its next-generation robotaxis. Simultaneously, the cost of manual knowledge work is trending toward zero. In software engineering, Asana utilized OpenAI's Codex to compress a 5-year, $6 million legacy code migration into a highly automated 2-week sprint costing just $12,000. In biotechnology, Anthropic's Claude models have successfully executed autonomous protein design campaigns, generating viable molecules with success rates between 22 and 35%, obliterating the industry standard of human-led pharmaceutical labs. As AI eats enterprise workflows, it is also eating the internet itself. New data from Pew Research confirms that 35% of all web pages published since late 2022 show distinct markers of AI authorship. Before we break down the telemetry of these events, please hit follow or subscribe to the channel on Apple Podcasts to always listen completely ads-free. Let's unpack the data.
This podcast is researched and produced by Etienne Newman, professional engineer and founder at Zeekr-manufactured from Calgary, Alberta in Canada. So welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, we are putting on a very specific set of lenses for you. We're acting as forensic venture strategists and sovereign infrastructure analysts.
Right, which is really the only way to accurately read the landscape right now. I mean, if you're trying to navigate this economy, surface-level product launches just won't cut it.
Exactly. You really have to understand the underlying architecture of capital and power. And our core narrative for today, August 21st, 2026, is what we're calling Silicon Sovereignty and the Collapse of Manual Execution.
It's a heavy title, but it's incredibly accurate.
It is. We've dissected a whole stack of tech and financial reports, Pew Research data, real estate analytics, and they all point to this massive, violent decoupling from legacy dependencies.
Yeah, from hardware supply chains all the way down to human labor itself. And this matters to you, the listener, because we are watching the architecture of a new autonomous economy being cemented right in front of us.
Right.
And understanding these capital structures is just crucial for anyone trying to survive in it.
So let's start with the hardware side. Alphabet's Waymo has officially dropped their legacy dependencies on Nvidia and AMD.
Which is a massive shift.
Completely. They've designed this new custom 5-nanometer TSMC chip in-house. And the specs are wild. It's capable of 1,000 TOPS.
Trillions of operations per second, yeah.
Exactly. So it effectively matches NVIDIA's current systems, but it's designed entirely in-house to lower costs. And they're already deploying it in their new robotaxis built with the Chinese manufacturer, Zeekr.
Right, and this is happening right as Nevada just approved 8,000 robotaxis for Clark County and Las Vegas across Waymo, Tesla, and Uber.
Yeah, the scale is just crazy. But I want to use an analogy here because it feels like a Michelin star restaurant that stops buying pre-made ingredients and just, buys the actual farms to secure its entire supply chain.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
But let me push back a bit. Is designing a 1,000 TOPS custom TSMC chip just about saving pennies on the dollar? Or is this like a survival imperative, so they aren't beholden to a monopoly.
Oh, it is absolutely a survival imperative. From a venture strategy perspective, this is a pure sovereign infrastructure move.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
Well, think about it. If your entire business model is based on autonomy, you cannot outsource the brain. You just can't.
Right.
Because if you rely on a third-party monopoly for your compute, they dictate your margins, your timeline, your entire roadmap. Waymo realized they had to own the silicon to own their future.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and this vertical integration, this decoupling, it isn't just happening in hardware. If hardware is eliminating reliance on third-party silicon, software is aggressively eliminating reliance on human keystrokes.
Yes, the collapse of manual execution. Let's look at the software economics of this. I was reading this report about Asana using OpenAI's Codex to strip out an outdated testing framework.
Oh, the Asana code-base migration. Yeah, the math on that is staggering.
It really is. So originally, human engineers estimated this project would take 5 years and cost $6 million.
Right.
But by using Codex, they compressed that multi-year project into a 2-week automated sprint that cost $12,000.
I mean, you just have to pause on that math. 5 years to 2 weeks.
$6 million to $12 grand.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to comprehend. And then you contrast that with what Slack is doing. They just launched Slack Code.
Right, which completely changes the developer environment.
Yeah, it basically turns coding into a group chat. You have AI agents like Claude, Devin, or GitHub Copilot actually writing the software right in the channel.
And what are the human engineers doing?
They're literally just watching. They steer the direction, they approve the final production merge, and then they just archive the channel when it's done. People are calling it vibe coding.
Vibe coding. I mean, it sounds so casual, but it's a fundamental restructuring of labor.
Yeah, I honestly question that term. It's like the difference between being the bricklayer sweating in the sun, laying bricks one by one, versus being the architect sitting in an air-conditioned room just pointing at a blueprint.
Exactly. The human role is now strictly QA, quality assurance, and risk management. But let me ask you this. If a $6 million job now costs $12K, what happens to the velocity of that freed up capital in the broader market?
Well, the barrier to entry for software creation has basically collapsed to zero. That capital is going to flow somewhere else, likely into hard infrastructure.
Precisely. And this autonomous execution model, it's not staying confined to software.
No, it's bleeding into the physical world. If an AI can rewrite a code base autonomously, what happens when it applies that same logic to human biology?
That's where it gets truly wild.
Yeah, let's dive into Anthropic's new research. Their Claude models, specifically the Mythos Preview and Opus 4.8, are running protein design campaigns largely on their own.
And their success rates are phenomenal.
They are. They're hitting 22 to 35% success rates on generating molecules that successfully grip their targets.
Which, just for context, absolutely crosses the industry norm, which is usually sitting around 10 to 15%.
Right. But the craziest part is the workflow. There's a report that Opus 5 opened raw instrument files without any specialized lab software and measured a sample at 96.4% purity in 19 minutes.
And how long did the human lab take to generate that exact same report?
4 days.
4 days down to 19 minutes.
Yeah. Now, just to be clear, the AI did the design of the data analysis, but human labs, specifically Twist Bioscience and Adaptive Bio, executed the actual physical measurements.
Still, the speed is incredible.
It's like giving an AI an impossible lock, and it doesn't just guess the combination. It autonomously mills a perfectly fitting key in minutes.
That's a great analogy. And if you view this through the lens of pharmaceutical capital structures, it changes everything.
How so?
Well, this isn't just using AI as a tool anymore. The AI is functioning as the lead researcher. Historically, the economic models of drug discovery price in massive systemic failure rates.
Right, because most drugs fail in trials.
Exactly. So when your success rates double autonomously, those legacy financial models are fundamentally upended. The unit economics of biology are being rewritten.
But this hyper-efficiency has a byproduct, doesn't it? Massive autonomous output.
Oh, absolutely. We are generating synthetic data at a scale that's hard to fathom.
Which connects directly to the digital environment we all live in.
Yeah.
We are being flooded. Let's look at this new Pew Research study.
The one about the AI-generated web pages.
Yes. They found that 35% of all web pages published after November 2022, which is when ChatGPT launched, showed definitive signs of AI generation.
Wow. Over a third of the new internet.
Yeah. They used a tool called OpenPangram to scan the Common Crawl database. And the breakdown is fascinating. Commercial.com pages have 10 times the AI authorship of .edu or .gov sites.
So government and academic sites are largely holding the line.
Yeah, they're sitting at near 1%, with .orgs at about 5%, but the .coms are just saturated. And OpenPangram spots these pages by looking for tells, like the systemic overuse of M-dashes and Oxford commas.
It's so interesting that punctuation is the fingerprint.
Right. It's like discovering that 1 out of every 3 buildings in your city was built overnight by a robot architect. And he always leaves his signature, like an M-dash carved on the front door.
That's exactly what it is. We're entering an era of a purely synthetic web.
And that synthetic web is pushing AI companies into some very controversial privacy territory. OpenAI just pushed ChatGPT into macOS local permissions.
Oh, right, using AppleScript, an accessibility tool.
Exactly. They require full disk access, which allows ChatGPT to locally read, search, and send your iMessages.
Which is a huge privacy leap.
Huge. And you pair that with their new private safety processing for enterprise users. They claim this system scans across multiple API sessions to look for malicious intent, like someone developing malware.
But they claim they do this without humans reading the prompts, right?
Yes. They claim it preserves a zero data retention policy. But I have to ask a pointed pushback question here.
Go for it.
How exactly can an automated agent scan our intents across sessions for malware while keeping a zero data retention promise? I mean, aren't they fundamentally reading our minds without technically reading our texts?
It's the ultimate privacy paradox, but clinically speaking, they're using what we call narrowly defined signals.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
It means they aren't parsing the English language of your message. They are analyzing the mathematical vector of your behavior. It's like anomaly detection on a credit card.
So they don't care what I'm buying, just the pattern of how I'm buying it.
Exactly. They are looking for the behavioral shape of malware creation, not the specific syntax. But your point stands. Local machine AI integration, like reading your iMessages, is the absolute new frontier because human-curated data is now a premium asset.
Because the public web is 35% synthetic and full of M-dashes.
Exactly. They need the messy, local human context.
Which brings us to the ultimate macro question for this deep dive. With hardware decoupling, manual execution collapsing, and the web becoming synthetic, where is the smart money going? Where are the human architects migrating?
We have to look at the real estate and labor data for that.
Right. And the latest CBRE report reveals a massive shift. New York has officially surpassed the San Francisco Bay Area in total tech workers for the first time in 13 years.
That is a historic migration of talent.
It really is. The math is clear. New York has 394,000 tech workers compared to the Bay Area's 376,000. New York grew 8% since 2022, fueled heavily by financial services and AI startups in Midtown South.
While the Bay Area shrank by 6%.
Yeah, driven by heavy cuts at Meta, Block, and Amazon. It feels like the gold rush is physically moving from the site of the mines, Silicon Valley, to the financial clearinghouses on Wall Street.
That's because the mining itself is now fully automated.
Exactly. And look at the mega rounds funding this shift. Anthropic is targeting a massive $75 billion IPO valuation.
Which matches SpaceX, by the way.
Right. And Poolside, another AI startup, just raised $1 billion from Nvidia at a $12 billion valuation.
You know, a $75 billion IPO for an AI company isn't a standard software valuation. It's just not.
What is it then?
It reflects the need to finance unprecedented sovereign-level physical infrastructure. We are talking power grids, dedicated data centers, massive compute farms.
Like Waymo building their own silicon?
Exactly. The geographic shift to New York proves that AI is no longer a speculative tech experiment in a garage. It is an institutional financial instrument now.
So, synthesizing this whole autopsy we've done today,
Yeah.
we are looking at a violently restructured landscape.
Violent is the right word.
Waymo is owning its own silicon. Software and biology are being autonomously generated for fractions of a penny. The public web is already 35% synthetic, and the geographic power center has shifted east to New York.
It's a complete paradigm shift, which leaves me with a deeply analytical final question for you and for our listeners to mull over.
Let's hear it.
If manual execution is rapidly approaching a marginal cost of zero, and AI agents are independently managing the infrastructure of our digital and physical worlds, what becomes the most valuable human asset in a synthetic economy?
That is the million-dollar question.
Is it our taste? Is it our ability to build trust? Or is it, perhaps, the sheer unreplicable unpredictability of human error? Because a machine is designed to never make a genuine mistake.
The value of human unpredictability. Wow, that is a profound thought to end on. Thank you to everyone for joining this intense session. As you go about your week, look closely at the tells in the digital world around you.
Look for the M dashes.
Exactly. Keep analyzing the architecture, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
That concludes our forensic briefing for August 21st, 2026. The strategic signal for today is the total collapse of manual execution. When Asana compresses a 5-year, $6 million software migration into a 2-week sprint that costs $12,000 using OpenAI's Codex, and when Anthropic's autonomous agents design viable proteins with higher success rates than seasoned human pharmaceutical labs, the baseline cost of intelligence has effectively flatlined. Enterprise leaders must aggressively audit their operational workflows today. Any process relying on routine manual engineering or structural design is now an active financial liability against competitors deploying autonomous agents. If you found value in today's AI briefing, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It takes 10 seconds and helps other AI enthusiasts discover the show. If you are ready to secure your company's infrastructure and exit volatile legacy dependencies, check the show notes for our curated AI executive toolkit. Subscribe to the channel on Apple Podcasts to always listen completely ads-free. I am Anna. Stay sharp and keep unraveling the future.
And before you go, if your company is building the tools that power the workflows we talked about today, I'd love to showcase them to this audience. We don't just run ads, we build technical simulations that prove your value. Let's build something together. Visit jamgamind.com/partners to get started. Until next time, keep building. Before we go, one of the stories in my kids' app is about Garrett Morgan, who left school at 14, saw a crash at a crossroads, and invented the yellow traffic light. Every amber light in the world exists because of him. That app is a finalist in a Canadian pitch competition, and a public vote decides the final 5. 20 seconds, 1 vote per person, closes September 22nd. Links in the show notes.